Okay, sorry for that. Now we can go ahead. Yeah, so I want to show you the first of the exploring feature. This is the FReD Explorer, and the basis for this is the FReD database. With the distinction to the Flora that Luke already talked about briefly, is that here we have coded information for both the original and the replication in much more detail. So we have variables including sample sizes, p-values, um, claim text, test statistics, all of those informations, allowing for a little bit of more in-depth analysis. Um, yeah, and I hope this becomes a little bit more clear when I show you this website. So when we start here, we can already see the first graph. It's the outcome distribution. We can see that there's currently about 2,000 effects in the database. And here you get an overview of the outcomes. Leading on to the next graph is the effect size comparison, where we have the original effect size against the replication effect size for each of the effects that are in the database currently. Each dot represents one. Here you can have a small description of the effect and both effect sizes. And by clicking any of these buttons, you can hide success or failure studies. If you've already noticed, this is inspired by the graph of the Open Science collaboration on replications, giving you an overview. And next, I want to show you this table, which contains all the effects in the database with result, original, and a replication reference. And I already typed in Stroop. You can look up any effect that you might be interested in. And here you can see all of the effects that are in connection with that search word. And when we click on the first, we already have the description. Here you can see the claim with effect sizes. And then we have them excluded here for the original, for the replication, and both sample sizes. And then we have the p-values, the power, and the outcome, which here is the failure, as we can already see by the intervals, confidence intervals here. And significance R already gives us a hint and a great transfer to the panel on the left here, which allows us to change the success criterion. So right now, per default, it's at significance of replication, as you can see here. But you can change it and choose any of these, which is more towards what you were looking for. So here, let's, for example, choose reported success, and we can see that the result here changed, even though the significance is obviously still the same. So we can see that the replication authors declared it as mixed, whereas for the significance, we would declare it as a failure. So you can see that. Now I'd like to move on to the correlates part here. Here you can see outcomes by decade, finding failed, successful, or mixed replications for all of the years. And with the data control, you can also here change the success criterion, and you can set a limit for minimum power. And if you, for example, put it to 80%, you first get an overview of the database, so we can see that most of the effects are actually with a power of less than 80%. So only 500 of 2,000 effects meet that criterion. And then it changes the graphs here. And down below here, you can filter the outcomes by discipline. So I have to say that about half of the effects are from the realm of psychology, but we're not limited to that. As you can see, there's also from philosophy, marketing, and many other disciplines. And here you get an overview of the contribution. So we see that most would be attributed to social psychology. And you can, again, check the success with different criterions. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. Sorry again about the incompetence at the beginning. And yeah, be happy to answer questions.